do we require a trip to Mount Everest in order to be able to perceive one moment of reality? I mean, is Mount Everest more real than New York? I mean, isn't New York real? Well, why do you think that is? I mean, why is that? I mean, is it just because people are lazy today or they're bored? I mean, are we just like bored, spoiled children who've just been lying in the bathtub all day, just playing with their plastic duck, and now they're just thinking, well, what can I do?
Okay, yes, we're bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating subconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money? And that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks. And it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but someone who's bored is asleep. And someone who's asleep will not say no. You see, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Ronstadt. And he said he's no longer on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, BikTok, all this pollution to the brain and mind. He doesn't watch television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel like we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything you hear contributes to turning you into a robot. And when I was at Findorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who's devoted his life to saving the trees. He just got back from Washington and he's lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old and he always travels around with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findorn, he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." And he said, "Oh, that's a very interesting place." And he said, "Do you know a lot of New Yorkers that keep talking about the fact that they want to leave, but they never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think that is?" And I gave him different banal theories, and he said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all. You see, I think New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been created by the inmates themselves. And they have this pride in this thing that they built. And so they exist in this state of schizophrenia where they're both prisoner and God. And they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they created, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a tree and a seed for a tree. And he said, "This is a pine tree." And he put it into my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." You see, actually, for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling like we really should get out, of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it's quite obvious the world seems to be headed in the same direction. You see, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before it was extinguished, and that all this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on, there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing. And there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called the human being, with feelings and thoughts. And that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon, nobody will remember the life existed on the planet.